Time now is 7 o'clock, and we'll call the meeting of October the 25th Board of Supervisors meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, public comment on items on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Do I have any out there? Being none, we'll move on to item number 4, which is approval of minutes. We have 2 meetings here that we'll be taking action on as far as minutes. First one will be, we had a special meeting on October the 18th. And this is in regards to a plan, land development plan and stormwater plan by the Mill Creek School District. It was a special meeting called. There was no other purpose of that meeting other than that reason itself. So call for a motion to approve those minutes. Any additions or corrections?
No, I move to approve the minutes from October 18th.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you. And then prior to that, we had the regular meeting of October the 11th. Any additions or corrections?
No, I move that we approve the October 11th meeting.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Approval of the bills, number 5. Do we have any questions, comments, anything regarding the bills that we pay out?
I move that we pay the bills.
Okay, and I will second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, it's our third quarter financial report. Mark, I'll let you have the stage now.
Thank you.
If you want, he'll have a PowerPoint presentation there for you to follow along if you so desire.
Okay, once again, we're doing the financial results for the third quarter. This is something we started this year, and going to keep it going. Okay, year-to-date revenues, we've got a comparison of 2016 to 2015. Obviously, the biggest chunk of the revenue for the township comes from property taxes, and those are pretty much so fully received. We've received most of the revenue there by March, and then we get another chunk in June, and then it sort of dribbles in the rest of the year. Income taxes will continue to grow throughout the balance of the year because those are pay-as-you-go. Charges for services are probably pretty much so over for the year, and the other taxes really depend on the number of realty transfers for the most part. The numbers you can see are pretty close to where they were last year, so we're pretty much on par with the revenues of one year versus the next. The one thing that is slightly higher is the other income or revenues, and that was, we had a good year at the recycling center, and we did sell the property on Quince Road, which is in that account. In comparison to budget, the budgets are relatively similar. And we're running pretty close to, the revenues are running pretty much on track with the budget. The one thing that is somewhat up in the air is we get money from the Gaming Authority, and those, as a result of the Supreme Court ruling, may or may not be in this year's, and most of that's received at the end of the year, so we may or may not see that money, but everything else is pretty much so running on track. Year-to-date expenses are pretty much so in line as well. Public safety is running a little bit higher, and that's in part due to mostly their capital. There were additions for software, there were additions of 60 cars, so there were a variety of items that have driven up the cost for the public safety. Also in there are the LST monies for the fire departments. So there's could generally be a timing issue involved there as well, one year versus the next. In comparison to budget, public safety was budgeted to be higher, and so we're running pretty much all in track with that. Moving on to we do general government. We're running slightly to the good on salaries, and that should be expected. You know, we only have a certain number of people, and their salaries are set, so therefore that should track fairly well close to budget. Health insurance, we're also once again tracking slightly to the good, and that just means that our expenses are pretty much so in line with where we had budgeted them. Other benefits are slightly negative. This would be health insurance, workers' comp, things like that. It's pretty small variance at this point. Legal is running to the good. We just haven't had a lot of additional charges for litigation this particular year. And we've held the line on the major equipment purchases. And we probably, it's unlikely to spend anywhere close to that $265,000. Public safety, salaries are running to the good, and that's due to fewer hours incurred. That's both on the overtime side and the actual day-to-day hours. Health insurance for the police department's running very well to the good. Other benefits are positive. Contributions to the fire departments, this is one of those things where they're required to turn into us their financial results. So until they turn in their numbers, they don't get their LST allocation. And so it's up to them to get their financial information in so that we can cut them their checks. That should, at the end of the year, will be up to speed. And major equipment purchases, you'll see a negative number there, but then we've got a positive number in the street department. It's a budgeting classification issue. When we go to streets, salaries, that's once again lower than expected overtime. Health insurance is running to the good. Other benefits are running to good. Snow removal expense is running to the good as well. Might see a little bit more in expense there. That would be salt for the most part. But Brian has told me that the price for salt has gone down significantly for the next season, so that's a good thing. And then you see we've got a $500,000 positive variance on the major equipment, so it's really a classification issue. Parks and Recreation, everything's running pretty close to budget. A little bit negative on the salaries, and then on the other benefits, and then health insurance is running slightly to the good. Major equipment, once again, they've pretty much so tapped out for the year. They probably will not spend that remaining $45,000. Here's one big variance, and that's the Asbury Woods grant that we provided earlier this year, and we need to do a budget amendment to include that. Questions? Okay, being none, we'll move on.
Okay. We could ask them to repeat it back to us and see if they remember, but anyway, I think this is the third presentation you have made, Mark.
Yes.
This is the third quarter. We started this in January, and I think it's a good idea. This way the public gets to know how we're doing financially each quarter, where our expenses are, if we're on track with our budgets. And you can see some of the numbers are down, some of the numbers are up, but everything washes out and actually in the positive when we look at the overall picture
Yes.
of it. So we hope to carry that balance over, any other balance into the next year. That'll help us with next year's budget, which we will be working on here real soon. I know we have departments that submitted their requests for next year's budget, and we'll be going over that here real soon. So, okay, thanks, Mark. Appreciate that. And moving on to item number 7, consideration of subdivision and land development plans. The first one on the agenda is Grouse Hollow Phase 1. It's the final subdivision plan. Mr. Morris.
At their meeting of October 4th, the Planning Commission recommended approval.
Okay. Do we have anybody here from Grouse Hollow Phase 1, the developer? Oh, yes. If you would, please identify yourself for the record and please write it down, your name and address, please.
Dave Baldwin and 1440 High Street.
Okay. Pull this over here. You want a copy? There's a big copy out here. If I remember, there was a question about a right-of-way or something. That's not part of this here, correct?
That's correct. That's in
Okay.
Phase 2.
Right, okay, so this is, this creation here. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, okay. So, any questions, John?
Mr. Morris, were there any comments of the Planning Commission?
No?
Nothing, okay,
Any concerns from the staff?
No?
okay,
No, Phase 1 is pretty much cut and dried.
okay. Nothing else there, John?
No, any other questions from the audience?
Okay, do we have anybody else here to speak in reference to this? Okay, being none? Okay, call for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the final subdivision plan.
Okay, and I will second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, our next one is a sketch plan, and it is from Diamond Design Construction. Is anybody here from Diamond Design? There is no official action taken on this here, just so the audience knows. They're making a presentation of a proposal. It's called a sketch plan. We don't take any formal action, as I said. If you would identify yourself for the record. And, yeah.
My name is Marina Baranova.
Okay. Okay. And you're planning to make a subdivision is what?
And we're planning to buy these 2 lots on Schultz Road.
Okay. Obviously to build.
Do you have a sketch to show? I sent to someone.
You have a large one.
Yes, we have a large plan here.
This one, do you need this?
Yeah.
You got a copy there too, don't you, John?
Yes.
Sorry there for that sound. So obviously you're proposing 2 residences. You're going to split that up.
Yes.
Into 2 lots there, and as sketch plan shows. One of the things that I've noticed, and this is just is a comment, but it is what they call a flag lot, and that is where you have a portion of land come in and then swirl around behind another piece of property. The ordinance, this is what rural residential zoning requires, 100-foot frontage. So that piece of land there, I see that it's 60. So you might have a modification. Actually, you would have a modification to be in compliance with the zoning ordinance for the frontage requirements.
Last time when we had a meeting here, there was a question regarding sewer line. That was the question, and we received there is a sewer line close to this, and I don't know.
Okay.
We just think 60 because the driveway will be
Okay.
not from the Schultz Road there.
Right.
If you'll give us the opportunity to use it with the 60, last time we proposed was 50 foot. If you'll give us to propose with 60, that will,
Am I correct here, Rick, that it is a 100-foot requirement for the
Yes.
frontage, John?
And what she's referring to is when they first presented it to the Planning Commission on October 4th, there was a drawing sketch that showed 50-foot frontage on one lot, 225 on another. Since then, last Friday, we've had a revised drawing submitted, and that now shows 60-foot frontage on the lot that was previously shown as 50 feet, and the 225-foot was reduced to 210 feet of frontage on Schultz Road.
Yes.
Other comments that the Planning Commission had was that the commission disliked the flag lot configuration. They recommended 100-foot frontage on both of the lots,
Okay.
and If planning an on-lot sewage disposal system, the approved septic site must be identified prior to the submission of the subdivision.
Okay. Okay, do you have all that information now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because I think you're going to be going back to the drawing board on this here, coming up with a little different plan. Just an opinion here of mine there. John, do you have any comment on that too?
Mr. Morris, look at the rendering. So this is along the edge of the property line, there's a current private drive or a driveway coming off of Schultz Road?
There is, just south of the two proposed lots, yes.
And that's a privately maintained,
Yes. We're gonna have an easement with the owner of that property.
okay. So are you anticipating actually creating an access point onto Schultz Road from kind of the let's say the flagpole part of the flag lot? Is that what you're proposing?
Yeah, it's gonna be from this driveway, not from the,
Okay.
not from the.
So is it my understanding that the flag lot's being proposed solely because you require 100-foot frontage on the roadway?
Correct.
It would technically
Correct,
be...
because the access is planned to be off from the existing driveway.
Yes.
So it's the 100-foot frontage that is required. The only public right-of-way that they could have the required frontage from is Schultz Road.
Are you only purchasing the strip to Schultz Road to be technically compliant with the land development plan?
Can you repeat that, please? Only 2 lots, yes.
This portion you're buying, are you only purchasing it so you can technically comply with the ordinance?
We're purchasing 2 this lots, so all this, and to divide like this.
Right, but what I'm asking is if you don't intend to actually access the road directly, are you only purchasing that narrow strip to try and technically comply with the ordinance?
I don't understand.
What he's asking is whether or not your frontage on Schultz Road is only to try to comply with the ordinance requirement that shows you have 100 feet.
Yeah, do you
Even
actually
though you
want that
don't.
strip of property, or are you just kind of buying it to try and comply with the ordinance? What I'm getting at is I'm wondering, Rick, this is trying to avoid a landlocked parcel, is what I'm wondering.
Correct.
And if they have an easement, would that count would that count as an access point, or is it still, we still consider it landlocked? Do we actually require the
No,
frontage?
we're okay with an easement that provides access from that driveway. The problem is the frontage. 100 feet is provided or required, and they're only providing 60 feet.
Right.
So they would require a variance on that somehow. Somehow that's going to have to be authorized. Is that right?
That would be up to you as to whether or not you would prefer to grant the variance or you would deny it.
Yeah.
This is only a sketch plan,
Yes,
so we have more time to discuss this.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
What I'm getting at is, do we even need frontage?
Well, yeah,
Can we
good point.
count this as frontage if they have access?
Right, yeah, it'd be landlocked, but if they've got a perpetual easement on that driveway, then that might be the case there. So, yeah,
It's a flag lot. This isn't public road.
right, yeah, okay. Well, we've given you some comments on that. I think there's going to be, I know there's going to be some further discussion. I think it'd be a good idea to get a hold of our engineering department probably tomorrow and see what else can be done. Are you under some sort of time frame to
Yes,
okay, have a contract to buy?
yes.
Okay.
We are holding this for months and months.
Okay, yeah, because you may have to get an extension. Check with your attorney on that. You have an attorney representing you?
Because if it's gonna be 100 feet, if we had that 100 feet, we would not ask the permission because that's how it's supposed to be. That's why we ask for your generosity to understand and give us some kind of
Okay.
rent so we
Yeah,
can
keep in mind, this
build
is a
it.
sketch plan. We don't take official action on a sketch plan.
We can't do before we buy it because we
Right.
plan to buy this.
Right, you're doing your diligence on us, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the smart thing to do, obviously. We just want to make sure we're not leading you down the wrong direction too,
Yeah.
okay? Because that makes us look bad, so we don't want to do that. So, I think a little bit further discussion may be warranted on it, and then you would end up coming up with a an official subdivision plan to be submitted to the Planning Commission for their recommendation, and then back to the supervisors for action by us, by the Board of Supervisors. Yeah, they explained that process to you.
How
I
long
don't-
it might take? May I ask this question?
Sure, please.
How long it's gonna take you?
How long will that take?
Well, Rick has to get back on the planning commission agenda and then back to us, so at a minimum, probably 6 weeks.
Yeah, the earliest that you could get on the planning agenda meeting would be the first Tuesday in December.
In
now.
December, yeah, and then goes to the supervisors. But the 27th is our meeting, is that correct, Cheryl? 27th is our final meeting of the year on the 27th, so. What is your time frame that you have with the seller to have when do you have to close? That's the question. 'Cause you'll need to have this before you can close.
We wanted to close yesterday.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
like a couple of weeks ago,
I
but
see.
we kept like telling, we're waiting for another meeting, and now we're gonna tell we're waiting for another
Right.
meeting. Okay, before I leave, may I ask another thing? I have a
Please.
paper in front of me where it says another information, how the minimum lot width shall be 70 feet if provided lot, hold on. Where public sewer will be served the lot in any zoning district, but on lot, water supply is provided. This is adjustment where private water and sewer provided. Is there something,
That's taken out of our subdivision ordinance there.
it says 70, not 100. Is this can be,
Rick, what is that? Is that out of the old subdivision ordinance?
I think she's referring to our subdivision land development ordinance.
Yeah,
And there are requirements in there as to whether or not you're located on a public sewer or whether you have your on-lot system.
right, it's gonna have an on-lot, I believe. Am I correct?
Yes. And what it states under 3.07.3, 3II is minimum lot width shall be 70 feet, where public sewer will serve the lot.
Right.
And it doesn't, although you have an on-lot water supply.
Right,
So there are some variations there. I think we need to discuss this
Yeah.
with you in the office. So if you could call and make an appointment tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
we could sit down and discuss this with you. Okay?
okay. We'll hopefully get a lot of these questions answered for you, okay?
okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Moving on. Get that out of the way there. Okay, our next item, item number 8, it's 8th Street Marketplace Corridor Redevelopment Plan. It's an informational presentation to show the concept of creating enhanced pedestrian and streetscape facilities along West 8th Street from Pittsburgh Avenue to Peninsula Drive. And I think, Mrs. Crago, you're going to be making a presentation?
Yes,
If you would, please identify yourself.
we're
and-
just going to bring our
Okay, yeah.
easel over.
The floor is yours when you're ready.
We're being an audio visual aids here.
Okay, we like that there.
Okay, right there, see it?
Okay, make sure everybody else can see it.
Okay. Well, you want me to move it someplace else?
No, that's fine.
We're okay, I just want to make sure everybody in the audience can see it. So, that's good. Can you people see it out there? Okay, that's good, thank you. Okay,
Okay, I'm Robin Crago, 2626 West 8th Street.
okay.
My husband and I have resided in Mill Creek for 41 years. My husband was born in Erie, and his family moved to Mill Creek in 1952. His family began Les Crago Jewelers 66 years ago, and it has been in the same location in the shops at the Colony since 1954, moving there from 12th Street near the airport. We remain living here because we love the Erie area, but we recognize the need for change. Erie and its surrounding communities are unique. The Erie area is the only area in Pennsylvania that resides on a Great Lake. Its natural bay played a large role in the history of our nation. The beaches of Presque Isle, Pennsylvania's only lighthouses, the oceanic-like views and amazing sunsets create a great place to live, play, and vacation. Most recently, the development of the Bayfront has enhanced the economic future of Erie. West 8th Street, being the corridor that links the Bayfront to the peninsula, will hopefully play a role in the continued development. As we travel to cities that surround us, we've experienced trends of growth. We've seen the reclaiming of areas which has enhanced neighborhoods, businesses, and the quality of life. Major cities surrounding Erie have expanded their vision to revive areas that have lost their appeal. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Cleveland, and Columbus, Ohio, have invested heavily in specific areas of their cities. Their urban and suburban revitalization continues to breathe new life into these areas. All these areas have attracted residents back to local eateries, locally owned retail stores, and art and music events. They have also provided a venue for tourists to explore. Last spring, the editors of the Erie Reader wrote, "Erie has a lot of things to do, but it doesn't have an area with an arrow pointing to it, to a place that says this is the hip and fun place to go." We feel that we have a perfect corridor to provide that to the Erie Mill Creek residents and visitors. West 8th Street between Pittsburgh and Peninsula would be a perfect corridor to provide the type of place, a main street of our community. The Short North Arts District in Columbus, Ohio is an excellent model of this type of initiative. The planners defined the Short North corridor with iron arches over the street, creating an inviting and fun place to shop, eat, and relax. The concept has brought investors, residents, and visitors to the now thriving area. At this time, West 8th Street between Peninsula Avenue and Pittsburgh Avenue and Peninsula Drive is home to 10 restaurants, currently upwards of 30 retail businesses, a hotel, an event center, spas, and the newly designed West Erie Plaza, and countless other businesses. As you can see in this drawing, the revitalization would include iron arches, sidewalks, lampposts, and underground utilities. We feel that this initiative will create a welcoming atmosphere for residents and visitors to safely walk and enjoy all that 8th Street in Mill Creek has to offer. It is our hope that as you proceed with Embrace Mill Creek, that you will embrace the 8th Street Marketplace, creating an area that is current, vibrant, and fun for our residents and our many vacationers and visitors.
Okay.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Do you have any questions?
John, do you have questions or comments?
Well, I think it's a really exciting opportunity. I will say that as liaison to the Planning Commission has been advancing the Embrace Mill Creek initiative, two of the main concepts that the Planning Commission threw out to the public via a community survey that they thought should be focus areas were really focusing on corridor development for our major streets in Mill Creek to have beautification projects and clean up dilapidated buildings and improve really the look of our corridors. Another concept they threw out there was creating perhaps an enhanced Gateway to Presque Isle district. And I think this falls into both of those categories.
I agree.
As far as something that I think the Planning Commission would be very excited about. In fact, I gave them a little preview of this yesterday at a meeting we had, and actually they were really encouraged by it. And I'll say we had our Embrace Mill Creek Community Survey closed earlier this month, and we received over 500 open-ended comments and 1,000 responses to the survey. And we got a lot of folks mentioning just these kinds of things, that we don't have a sense of place in Mill Creek. We don't have a town center. And we got a lot of people commenting that it'd be a great thing to build in our community. So what I find most encouraging is to have local business owners, and in this case local property owners, and these two really keystone plazas we've got in Mill Creek, being the ones to advance it. So I think it has a great opportunity for a public-private partnership, and I'd be happy to forward this to the Planning Commission for their consideration as part of the plan. John, do you have any comments?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've got quite a few. Without sounding like a big hug fest on this, I think this is a great idea here.
Thank you.
You know, we look at, I think you said, what was it, a fun place? Is that what the quote was? And it's true. It really is down there. And I'm not trying to blast Peach Street, by no means. Peach Street is very heavily commercial, and you got the jam and everything. This right here is a nice area to have something like this right here.
And all locally owned businesses.
Right. That's true. And it's great, exciting to see the rebirth of the West Area Plaza.
It's very exciting.
Quite honestly, it really, I think, had a date with a wrecking ball, the whole thing. But I think with the work that's being done over there by Chris and Chris is, it's almost like a rebuild completely there. And of course, the Colony Plaza has always been a classy place. As long as I can remember as a kid going down there, this was pre-Mill Creek Mall time, and you know, that's how long ago it was. But so it's nice to see something like this where this area is going to be identified as the 8th Street Marketplace, or however we coined it. But I think that's a pretty good label to put on that. There is that term, and so I think, you know, this is to actually hopefully put this, include this in the comp plan, the Embrace Mill Creek plan. So, yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I appreciate the work you folks have done. I know there, yourself has kind of spearheaded it, but there's other people involved. I think Chip is probably involved. I see him, he won't raise, oh, he does raise his hand there. He's kind of quiet, so, yeah, I think it's a good idea there.
Well, and Robert, one thing I will add is I think the plan for the commission is to actually create kind of work groups or even focus areas that the plan will be, as the plan develops. Would you mind serving on one of those work groups in the event that one gets formed for that district?
Certainly.
Because it really is, what we're trying to do with Embrace Mill Creek is get citizens involved, get business owners involved. And that's why I'm really excited that you folks are here today.
Thank you.
Stepping forward to play a part and help partner with us. Because I think the thing about these kind of projects is a lot of times when it's the government pushing the issue, it can be pushback, and it's a lot easier when we've actually the business community bringing forth the ideas, and we're really providing the assist in a lot for most of these kind of, in this case at least. So
I think, as John said, this is a true public-private partnership on this. This is really what the true essence of it means. And it's great to see that. And one thing I forgot to mention here, and I think everybody is aware of it, that old gas station on 8th and Lowell. Thank God that's down. And I understand that, because that was kind of a blight, it was a blight for that area there. So, you know, the Colony Restaurant now, that I just wish they bring the parties in the plaza back. You know, those are always fun, but good fun place for people my age and older. So it's good. It's nice to see this going on here. And I appreciate the work you've done on it, Robin.
Well, before I go, I do want to thank Chris Green and Chris Conrad, the developers of West Erie Plaza, for the rendering. They were so nice and gracious to provide that for us.
Yes.
And to Sharp Printing, who mounted it and printed it for us. It was a really nice effort. And and also, I wanted to thank Chip Reel, who is the owner of the shops at the Colony. He's been really amazing and helpful all along. And joining us also tonight are Thomas Siki, who is a business owner of Car Care on 8th Street, and my husband, Stephen Crago, the owner of Les Crago Jewelers. Right. And on board with us as well are Carrie Schwab, owner of Bel Air, and also Mark Wells from owns property on West 8th Street as well. So I haven't spoken to one person literally, and I've been talking about this probably for 3 years. I haven't talked to one person, whether a business owner or a resident, who isn't really excited. And we did get a little press this evening, and I was calling a few people, and they were saying, I saw you on television tonight, and I'm so excited to see that happen. So it really is a very, very positive win-win for everyone in our community. So I thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Chip, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, most of what I wanted to add just got said. But I just wanted to say...
It's Chip Reel, right? Chip Reel, okay.
Chip Reel.
Identify him for the record there.
I just wanted to say we've had a number of meetings in the past which have generally been attended by Chris and Chris from the West Erie Plaza. But I've spoken with Mark Wells, who's got the Peninsula Village, and he's very enthusiastic about it. He thinks it's a great idea. He's got business in Pittsburgh today and he couldn't come back. I talked to Kerry Schwab, who owns the Bel Air. He's very enthusiastic about it. His son is having surgery in Cleveland tonight, so he couldn't make it for this. So I think everybody, pretty much everybody that we've contacted who are property owners along there are in favor of the concept. Obviously, we're at a stage, but
sounds great.
everybody wants to look into it and move forward from here.
Paul Nelson was on board as well. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
very excited about it, and certainly it would complete all the hard work that he's done. It would complete that for the park as well. So
Yeah.
it's very serendipitous that it's all happened the way it's happened. At the West Erie Plaza first meeting we had, and I sent Chris Conrad my ideas, and he said we're putting the iron arches that we saw at the Short North into our plaza, and I said, when I sent my proposal to him, I said the Short North is our model, and he was right on board. So it's all
Yeah.
very serendipitous. It's happening at a great time.
Right.
So I
Okay.
look forward to working with you.
Me too.
Thank
And
you.
just
Thank you very
one
much.
little other note here, we also know that to the west of Peninsula Drive, on 8th Street and 6th Street there, that the old El Patio is coming down as we speak. The new Sheets is there, and that's very tastefully done. The Sid's Restaurant is adding on, and the old 3Ds is remodeled and under a new name, new ownership. So, that kind of extends out that way. I'm not saying that you need to extend that there, but it's just nice to see all that going on down there. in that
Pretty
area.
soon, we're going to have an arrow pointing at the hip and happening place.
Yes, that's right. Put a big sign out there,
That's
flashing
right.
light. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll take this down.
Okay.
You want me to grab?
If you don't need the easel, we'll take that.
That'd be fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Actually, if you got an extra copy, we'll give to Brian when we see him next week. Okay.
We'll scan it and send it out to the
Oh,
planning
yeah.
commission as
Yeah,
well.
that's right, yeah. Okay. I'll give that to Brian there. Thank you again.
Thanks for the time, Rob.
Okay. Okay, we'll let them get out of the way there. Okay, item number 9 is the announcements of bids and quotations received. And let's see here, John, I think you have these. The tree removal and stump. You gonna handle that, or you want me to handle it?
I guess I'm on.
If you want to handle it,
Well, I'm looking at it, and it looks like are we actually approving, or are we?
yeah, we'll be acting on to approve this one here, yeah.
Okay, we've got 2 quotes for log removal from the Streets Department. 2 quotes were from Jefferson Tree Service and Dibble Tree Service.
This is for Old Sterretania Road.
Yes, for Old Sterretania Road, 4 to 5 logs to be removed from public right-of-way. One of the bidders did not actually meet the specifications, so the Streets Department is requesting that we award the contract to Dibble Tree Service. I'll make that in form of a motion.
At $1,000?
Sorry, $1,000.
Yeah, and I'll second that motion. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
How about yes?
And I also vote yes. And then we have tiling of garage number 2.
This comes from Jerry Berger from our Building Maintenance Department, requesting approval of a project for the tiling of garage number 2 down the Streets Department. This was part of our capital budget for the year, and he's requesting approval of $19,000 for labor and materials for Dave's ceramic tile.
If I could just make a little note on that there. That was the amount budgeted, it was
Oh, I
19,000, yeah. The bid price, the lowest qualified bid was Dave's ceramic tile at $11,795.
I'm the backup on this, folks. I
Okay,
apologize. This is
yeah.
Brian McGrath's usual.
Yeah, this is usually Brian's
gig.
bailiwick here. So. Okay, so you have the form of a motion.
Yeah, I would move that we approve. What?
Oh, is that what that is? I'm sorry. I didn't read all the way down. Okay. 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 Okay, yes. So that was Dave's ceramic tile, Dave Menino. That was probably the labor on that. That's installation. Then moving on down, the porcelain tile from South One Supply. The low bid was awarded to them, or will be awarded them, $4,250. Is that right there, Cheryl? Okay. Sorry, we kind of stumbled on that there. So. Okay, hear a motion on both of those together?
Sure. I'll Move to select Dave Ceramic Tile for labor at a total cost of $11,795. And South One Supply for the materials at $4,250.
Okay, and I'll second on both of those. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Thank you.
What do we do when Brian's not here, John?
I don't know. We need the senior supervisor
We
here, I
certainly
guess.
do. I have one additional
Okay. Yep.
quote, John. The Streets Department has requested to purchase 4 tablet computers,
Yeah.
and that is for the purpose of performing a roadway inventory, which I think is actually a very positive step in the right direction for our Streets Department. They've developed a database system for recording the conditions of our pavement, and to do that more efficiently, they've requested to have tablets in their vehicles to collect the data in the field. They received a quote for 4 units. That would be a total with tax of $1,140.56. And I would make a motion to approve that request.
Okay. I will second that. We'll need to call for public comment on it since that's not on the agenda. Any public comment on that? Okay, being none, then of course I will second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay. Item number 10, new amended ordinance under review, proposed ordinance 2016-12. An ordinance to amend Chapter 40, Article 5, or Article 4 of the Mill Creek Township Code, known as the Weather Events Regulations Ordinance. Mr. Shaw, do you want to do a little presentation?
Sure. This is some modifications to an existing ordinance in our code. It was introduced at the last meeting that we would be making some proposed amendments, and then the proposed ordinance has been on the website for the public to view. Essentially, the ordinance is amending Section 40-22 to reduce the number of hours in which to remove a vehicle, which you have to remove a vehicle before it is towed, from 12 hours to 8 hours, as well as to make some modifications to clarify that the police are authorized to place the notice on the vehicle. In addition, that was 40-22A. 40-22B is likewise being amended to have the same reduction in hours from 12 hours to 8 hours on when a vehicle is to be or can be removed. And also Section 40-22C is being amended so that reducing the number of times a vehicle can be found to be parked in violation of the ordinance from 2 events to 1 event before it is towed immediately. And so that section also is being amended. And then Section 40-25A is being amended to adjust the penalties associated with violations of the ordinance. And Section 40-29 of the ordinance is being amended, again, to clarify the authority of the police department to take certain actions.
Okay. I guess the key to all of this is that, and it's very important for Mill Creek residents or anybody visiting Mill Creek, that in the event of a snow emergency that is declared as the snow emergency, the time to get them off the street is sooner, it's quicker, and you will be ticketed. We hate to do this, but we want to keep our streets open too, for those traveling through it and for emergency responders. So it's a serious thing that we really just can't allow it just to go the way it has been going. So so if Mr. Salvatore from the newspaper would just put a little emphasis on that, or maybe a little separate article, I would appreciate it, something about that. You can see us after the meeting. We'll give you the specs on it. So,
Mr. Crowe, I think in addition, the reduction in hours was a function of the fact that the streets department was returning to the streets more often than the 12 hours and having problems with the same car being parked there twice. So
right.
It was decided that 8 hours was needed to be able to more effectively remove snow from the streets in Mill Creek.
Yeah, but it'd still be nice if we didn't have snow this year too. I mean, I'm not going to complain. So, okay, call for a motion to act on that.
I move to adopt the proposed amendments.
Okay, and I will second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay. Item number 11, Resolution 2016 R19, a resolution to revise Mill Creek Township's fiscal year 2015 CDBG action plan. Turn this over to you, John Morgan.
Mr. Morris, did you want to cover this? It's the sidewalk amendment for CDBG?
Sorry, I don't have any information on it.
Well, this is a formal action we need to take to comply with Community Development Block Grant regulations to modify our action plan for 2015. The modification is to increase the amount of our sidewalk accessibility project by $2,391.85 from a total of $171,675 to $174,066.85. That cost is going to come from a decrease in the administration fee that we pay to the county, which would be a decrease of $2,391.85 to go from $31,000 to $28,608 and 15 cents. This is to adjust for overruns in those projects, Rick?
Yes.
So I'd make that as a motion to approve the amendment to the CDBG plan.
Okay, and I will second that. Just a quick comment. Anytime that there's an amendment or an adjustment to the CDBG allocations, you know, if money's being moved from one project to another, we have to take formal action here, even if it was for 25 cents. And I mean, it wouldn't be like that, but here we have an example of where we're reallocating money from the total. So that's just a brief explanation, folks. Anyway, as I said, I second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay. Item number 12, request for sale of parcel from repositories of unsold properties. The property 2403 Rolla-Home Drive. Mark, you have a...
Yes, this is a one of these things where taxes have accrued on this property. It was in the repository. It's index number 33-053-224.0-001.96. The total taxes that we're asking to be forgiven is $127.28. And at least it would put it back on the tax rolls with the new property owner.
Yeah. So this is really nothing new. We get these every month or two.
Yes.
So it's just another action that we need to take on that. Do I hear a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Okay, I will second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Thank you. Item number 13, Mill Creek Township Sewer Authority Employee Report. We'll have Mr. Scott Nick from the J.L. Nick Associates make a presentation. And I think he'll give a background as to what's going on, what you want to do that, or do you want me to give you a lead?
No, please go ahead, and I'll contribute as I can.
Just a quick informational background on this. Back when the Board of Supervisors voted last year to sell the Mill Creek Township Water Authority, one thing we had to keep in mind was that many of the Water Authority functions and Sewer Authority functions, which are separate entities, they relied on each other. And there was a possibility that somehow the Sewer Authority, the employees, their employment would be a casualty. I don't want to call it that, but something that would have happened. And so the authority, we still need the Sewer Authority in place, that's definite. So what happened was back in, I think in June it was, the Mill Creek Sewer Authority approached J.L. Nick Associates to conduct a study to see what they need to do for the employees. Ask us if we would also participate in it and determine if these employees could be integrated into Mill Creek Township as township employees. So I think that, am I pretty much correct on that there,
Yes,
Scott?
that,
Okay, if I'm not, please
right
correct
out.
me. So,
Yes.
floor is yours now. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
So at that point in time, when there was sufficient interest from both organizations about the integration,
Yes.
our recommendation was to integrate the employees. There were 6 of them at the time.
Okay.
From the Sewer Authority into the Mill Creek Township. So that was the recommendation that we made, and so we were asked, could you map out how that would work? And I didn't bring any visual aids because our recommendations were fairly simplistic.
Right.
We did facilitate a meeting between the organizations in August, it's my understanding, about the potential transfer, but we didn't make any decisions at that time.
Right.
So later in August, we laid down a set of recommendations. So I mentioned before that there were 6 employees at the Sewer Authority. 5 of the 6 employees, based upon our study, would be integrated into the engineering department. 2 of the 5 would require revised roles and revised pay that was commensurate with those revised roles. The other 3 could be rolled in as is. That was going to provide relief to an overtaxed, sorry about the word choice, engineering department. There was an additional communication benefit, there was a skills transfer benefit, and there was a technology benefit to that integration. So 5 of the 6 would have moved into the engineering department based upon our recommendations, and 1, the remaining employee, would have moved into the finance department reporting into the treasurer under our recommendations. And that would have required a slight revision to a role and perhaps pay.
Yes.
But that was much more slight.
Right.
And she would have retained her sewer authority responsibilities, as would the other 5 employees. So they still would have had their sewer authority responsibilities, but they would have been township employees reporting to the township, and they would have absorbed further township responsibilities as a result of that. So there was an efficiency of that transfer.
Right.
And when we weighed the good against the bad, there was very little bad and almost all good. There was a great benefit to transferring these employees in. So that became our recommendation.
Right.
There was an additional financial incentive that the Commonwealth would contribute, I think, additional pension funds as a result of this transfer,
I think that was
which,
correct.
again,
Correct,
just
Mark.
kind of sweetened the pot.
Right.
So our recommendations, to recap, were to take those 6 employees, transfer them from the sewer authority into the Mill Creek Township employment. 5 of the 6 into the engineering department, 2 in revised capacities, 1 into the finance department in a slightly revised capacity, but all retaining their sewer responsibilities.
Okay. Just for clarification, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, Scott, but the recommendation is these people, which we all see have value as employees, whether it's with the sewer authority or with Mill Creek Township. Moving them into township employment is not really creating a job. It's a matter that the jobs would still, they'd have to be done by somebody, right?
It would have been a paper transfer, yes.
These would be the
exactly.
logical people to bring into these roles.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I want to get that clarification, just for the record here, so.
That's a good clarification. Yeah, we weren't creating jobs. We were simply
Right.
making a paper transfer of these employment
Right.
over into the
Yeah,
township.
but we know how sometimes rumors get started, the township's creating jobs for people, and that is not the case, and I just want to make that emphasized, that it's not a creation of new jobs.
There's not a creation of new jobs.
Okay.
Scott, could you clarify, how did your organization come to the preferred recommendation of integration as opposed to other possible organizational efforts that you looked at for the sewer authority?
Well, we did present them with other options initially. The recommendation was, at the time, unquestionably to transfer into Mill Creek Township. But some of the other options involved some resizing, some right-sizing. I hate to use the word downsizing, but it did involve that.
Okay.
And when we evaluated that compared to the transfer option, there was a lot of downside and very little upside, especially in comparison to the transfer over into Mill Creek Township, where everybody's job was retained because their responsibilities would still exist. And there was an additional benefit of providing capacity to the township.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? John?
No, I appreciate you coming in to give the report to us, and I also want to say I think this is a really exciting opportunity for collaboration with the Sewer Authority. I know when their chairwoman, Ms. Monaco, came to us on June 14th to ask us to take part in this report. We were a little surprised, but also encouraged at the idea that Sewer Authority would have come to that conclusion that they would like to integrate and would like for us to assist them in a further study and report on how the integration could take place. Looking over the report, I think there's a lot of efficiency of scale, as you mentioned. I know our engineering department, Mr. Morris could verify, is a little overworked.
A lot overworked.
And from the report that J.L. Nick has provided, it seems like there's extra capacity in the Sewer Authority with their employees. And I want to say there's exceptional talent in that organization. So
Absolutely.
it'd be a real shame to lose anyone in that organization. And to be able to bring those talents into our engineering department would really create, I think, a central kind of think tank for the township, to do a central engineering and planning department for all capital improvements, which I think would be a great efficiency and improve effectiveness for taxpayers and ratepayers. And so I thank you for doing the work.
My pleasure. Our pleasure, rather.
Yeah. Okay. I've got nothing else to add. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate that.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we direct our key executive staff, and that would be our HR department, our solicitor, and our treasurer to move forward. And I know there's a little bit of legality, there's agreements we have to look at, but I think it's a really exciting opportunity, and I think we should move forward with investigating the next steps for actually accomplishing integration and having the HR department, finance department, and our legal team look at ironing out those details. So I'd move that we move forward and look forward to working with the sewer authority to accomplishing this.
Yeah, and I agree, and I'll second that motion. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote on that?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes.
And to your point, John, I want to clarify, there's a lot of stuff in the news lately about different authorities out there, whether it be contentions, negotiations about the transit authority. I know our water authority discussions in the past few years garner some news, but I want to stress that this is not a dissolution of the sewer authority. We have
That's right.
We have a great board with really smart people who are working hard for the township, and under this plan, and Scott, if I'm wrong on this, please say this, they would remain as a financing authority with ultimate control over capital budgeting approval and bond approval, correct?
That's exactly correct. Yes, they would again be a finance-only board. And there was some additional reporting relationships that may change as a result of that to provide them with administrative staff. And I believe the top two ranking individuals from the sewer authority would still, with regard to their responsibilities, report into that board. But yes, that board would remain intact.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, that's great. Okay. Item number 14, streetlight installation request for Whispering Woods Phase 7B, Mystic Ridge. Mr. Morgan.
Chairman, we've got a completed application from our streetlight clerk, Gail Jers. Whispering Woods Phase 7B, also known as Mystic Ridge. This is approval is requested to install 7 100-watt high-pressure sodium vapor lights on 16-foot fiberglass poles. Representing the majority owner, Kyle Luciano, has signed the Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the developer petition, and I would move that we approve the requests for streetlight installation.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, item number 15, sidewalk deferral agreement for 5101 Emmeline Drive. Kyle and Allison Borer are the developer. Rick Morris.
The new homeowners have signed the township's form for a sidewalk deferral agreement. And that means that if the township would come at some later date asking them to construct a sidewalk, they would do so at their own expense. Since there are no sidewalks in the vicinity of this property now, the sidewalk construction is deferred until such time. So we recommend approval of the agreement.
And this is just a typical agreement that we have on many other ones, just
Yes.
deferring it. It's not exempting them. It just says for right now they don't have to.
Correct.
They will in the future. Okay, do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Thank you. Item number 16, a stormwater maintenance agreement request for Accudyne Products. Tom C. and Margaret Bly are the developer. Rick Morris.
This agreement is also a township-approved form. Property owners will agree or have agreed to own and maintain the system, and we recommend approval of the stormwater management maintenance agreement.
Okay. And once again, this is a typical agreement that we would have for this.
Yes.
Nothing unusual about it. Okay, do I hear a motion on that?
Well,
1 second.
I'm sorry?
I would also indicate that the motion should include approval of their plan as well.
Okay. Oh, yes.
So noted. I would move approval of the stormwater management plan and the stormwater maintenance agreement.
Okay, and I will second both of those there. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, item number 17, the Erie County tax sale. Mark, do you have that information there?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Annually, Erie County holds its tax sale, and there's an agreement between the township and the county regarding properties within Mill Creek Township. And there are 5 properties identified that are up for tax sale.
Okay.
Coming up, I think it's November 8th, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's correct, yeah.
And typically, if they're, I think if they're mobile homes, the township has agreed previously to a minimum bid of $750. But there are 2 properties that we need to set a minimum bid for. One is at 3760 West 12th Street, and the recommended minimum bid for that is $111,000. That would result in all the various taxes and fees, utility fees, sewer, water, and so forth being captured by the payment there. If someone would bid $111,000, and then the second property is 5144 Lexington, which the minimum bid recommended for that is $18,500. And as with the other property, that amount would cover all the various fees and taxes that are due for that property.
Okay. Just an inquiry, that 3760 West 12th, is that the Shell station?
I
at
don't
12th
know.
and Powell? It sounds like that
I'm
could be-
assuming so based
Yeah.
on some of the numbers here.
Right.
It has an assessed value of $350,000, so I'm
That, I
assuming
believe
that's
is the
what that
one
is.
there, okay, yes, so that's, we may see some action on that, hopefully. That would be nice, so. Okay, so you need a motion for us to approve those
Those
prices?
minimum bids, yes.
Okay. Any questions from you, John?
No.
Okay. Hey, do I hear a motion to approve that?
I move to approve.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, item number 18, I think we're going to table that one, and we're incomplete on that information.
Yes, I was hoping we'd be in a position where we'd have the settlement agreements finalized by the meeting here, but unfortunately, there were a couple of loose ends that we weren't quite able to tie up before the meeting,
Right,
so
yeah.
we'll have to present that at the next meeting.
Okay.
I make a motion to table item 18.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. That is tabled to our next meeting of November 15th. Yeah, we'll have everything together by that time, right? November 15th?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, item number 19, communications. Mark, do you have anything?
No, I have nothing further.
Okay, I've got a couple things here. Let's see, this comes from Diane Lyons, our HR director, and asking if we could hire for approval at our meeting tonight. New hire for the police dispatch. Her name is Rebecca Schlickburn, and her position is Public Safety, Public Works Dispatcher. Starting date would be retroactive to last Friday, the 21st, at a rate of $18.38 an hour. She has, and just a little brief bio, she has been a part-time dispatcher with the police department since July, and she's taking the place of Liz Schultz, who retired here recently. So Rebecca will be taking that position there. So I put that in the form of a motion to approve that hiring.
Just to clarify, Mr. Gross, this is
Yeah.
not adding a position, this is
No.
maintaining our current workforce.
Current workforce, this is just a replacement for a retirement. So.
I move to approve the hire.
Okay, I'll second that. What? Okay, I'll second that there then. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. I have another memo from Diane Lyons regarding a hiring. The name, this is for it's a new hire for the streets department, and actually it's a backfilling through promotion, retirements. Name is Scott Wells. His position will be a street laborer. Starting date is October 31st, next Monday, at a rate of $17.99 an hour. A little bio on him. Scott was most recently employed with Washington County Roads Department in Arkansas as a heavy equipment operator, truck driver. He was a pavement maintenance and construction equipment operator with the U.S. Air Force. He has a Class A CDL and has an associate's degree in construction technology and computer-aided drafting and design. Sounds like a good employee
Sounds
that
like
we'll
quite
have
the
there.
pickup we got.
Yes, yes, we did
Good
very
job,
well.
Diane, and the HR
Yes,
department.
that's correct there. So I need a motion to approve that hiring.
That's so moved.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Let's see here. They have one coming from, unless you want to handle it, from Matt Exley regarding the know if I have it with me here.
Oh, it's the
Oh, here we
hazard
go. Yeah,
mitigation.
hazard mitigation. This comes from Matt Exley, our emergency management coordinator. It's a hazard mitigation plan committee meeting, and we're looking at his approval to attend that. Agreement to participate in that. Matt is our representative to the county for the emergency management. So I'll make that in the form of a motion to approve his participation in that.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes.
Well, I guess just to clarify, FEMA requires hazard mitigation plans for communities. In Erie County, the county planning department and county public safety department create a county-wide plan that all the municipalities jointly participate in for really efficiency of scale. So that's what this is. This is us voting to take part in that planning initiative to have the county's plan cover Mill Creek Township.
Okay.
Chairman Greer, I didn't notice that this was not on the agenda, so maybe.
Oh, yes.
Just a clarification matter,
Yeah.
maybe take public comment.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm thank you brought that up. Is there any public comment on that? We may have to hold back on a vote. Okay. Okay, being none, if you'll let the record reflect that, there is no public comment on that. Thank you, Mark. Okay, John.
We have a request for our maintenance department from Jerry Berger, requesting that he and two of his employees attend a training program put on by Builders Hardware pertaining to best lock systems and Stanley devices. Lock and door hardware is regularly installed in all of our buildings. It will be held at Manufacturing Business Association Conference Center on November 3rd, and there is no cost to attend this training. I would move that we approve the request for Jerry and his team to attend this training.
Okay, and I'll second that. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes.
Mr. Chairman, another item to discuss. The Erie Area Council of Governments is putting on a municipal training series. The next in the series is for Planning Commission members. This workshop will take place on November 17th from 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the WQLN headquarters up on Peach Street. I know we sent our zoning hearing board members to zoning hearing board training. They got a lot out of it. So what I'd like to do is make a motion for us to approve the expense for our planning commissioners to attend. We have eight commissioners and also Matt Waldinger, who is our lead staffer for the Planning Commission.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve expense up to $90. It's $10 a piece to attend. Up to $90 for our citizen planning commissioners to attend this training, and also Mr. Matt Waldinger, our land development coordinator.
Okay. Okay, I'll second that motion there. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
How about yes?
And I also vote yes. Okay, anything else you got there, John?
I think that is all for me.
Okay, Cindy Stitt, what do you have? Do you want the microphone over that way? Okay.
Oh, we gave you lines this time.
Okay.
So I have an update from McDowell High School. McDowell High School is ending their first quarter on Friday, so we're getting all of our midterms in, all of that. Our girls tennis team recently won the D10 district title, and our football team is moving towards the playoff season, so we have exciting stuff going on there. Our robotics club and our DECA club are starting their season, so we've been having meetings for those. And I think everyone is looking forward to starting the second quarter and getting fall or winter sports actually started in mid-November.
Okay.
And then I have the 2016 meeting schedule. So the remaining Board of Supervisors meetings for 2016 are as follows. There's no meeting Tuesday, November 8th due to Election Day. And the remaining meetings are Tuesday, November 15th at 9:30 a.m., Tuesday, November 29th at 9:30 a.m., Tuesday, December 6th at 9:30 a.m., and Tuesday, December 27th at 9:30 a.m.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Anything else you got there? Thank you for your information. Appreciate it. Mark, anything from you?
Nothing for me.
Cheryl? Rick Morris?
Nothing.
Okay. Citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens? Oh, wait a second. Oh, I am sorry. I forgot this. Jeez, I am sorry. Okay, I'm going to put this agenda under communications here. I need an action, and I'll make this as a motion, an action to post temporary no parking signage along the following streets. This would be for this Saturday, October the 29th, between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. This is in relation to an event scheduled at the New Life Church at 3900 West 38th Street, going on at the same time. Following streets, Colonial Avenue between West 38th Street heading north to Feidler Drive. No parking on both sides. McCreary Road, both sides from West 38th north to Feidler Drive. Holly Rue, both sides of the street between Colonial Avenue and McCreary Road. And Venice Drive on both sides between Colonial Avenue and McCreary Road. So I put that in the form of a motion to authorize that.
On the posting periods from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. then?
Yeah, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Their event goes from 2 until 7.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
And I also vote yes. Thank you. Appreciate
Chairman
it.
Grove, public comment?
Oh, geez, I'm sorry, I forget. We need public comment on that. I am sorry, I keep getting ahead of myself.
You're voting too fast.
I'm voting too fast. It's going too quick, I think so. I'm sorry about that. Any comment? Okay, being none, did you have the record reflect that there was no comment on that? Thank you. Citizens to be heard now. Appreciate that. Being none, we'll call for a motion to approve or to close the meeting.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, I'll second that at 8:10.
You're watching the Mill Creek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.